Death is coming. Death is here. Who's that outside? Death. Who's next? Is it you? Or maybe you? Or maybe me? Listen up. Most people spend their whole lives running away from the one thing we all have in common. But today on Bragg N Bout Business, brought to you by Cowboy Trail Brewery, cheers to the West, we're leading right into it. I've got Julie Handrahan from Transition Well in the building. She's a death doula, but don't get it twisted. This isn't a dark conversation. It's light, it's fresh, and it's about how to actually live with intention. You want to talk about legacy? Well, this is the real deal. So let's dive in. Enjoy. Julie Handrahan,
Yes.
welcome to Bragg N Bout Business.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for having me, Greg. This is awesome.
It's been great. You were my 500th follower on Instagram.
That's amazing.
That's how we ended up meeting and getting
I
contact.
know, right? And it's like, oh, I can get in now.
Right?
I'm like somebody.
And you wasted zero time. You contacted me right away.
Right?
Yes.
Well, you just never know. And especially when you're a death doula and a life doula, like you approach people and you go, what kind of response am I going to get? And I'll tell you a funny story. I was at a party in January and this woman came up to me and we were chatting. She says, oh, what do you do? I said, well, I'm an end-of-life doula. She looked at me, she did an about face, grabbed her wine glass and walked away.
Oh my goodness.
So you can have that reaction, or you can get a reaction of, hey, that's really interesting.
Super interesting.
Or you can get a reaction that's like, you do that, right?
That's funny because that was one of the questions I had for you is when you introduce yourself at a party or a function, like what is your elevator pitch to keep that conversation going so people don't walk away from you?
Well, I go, hey, let's just do a shock and awe and see what kind of reaction.
Who am I dealing with?
Because you know what? Death is in our face. No matter, like every day,
Yes.
Death can be in our face, or you're going to deal with somebody and maybe they have that same story or they're going through a grief journey or a death journey or, I like to say right now in my life, I'm like a clubhouse sandwich in the sense of there's me in the middle and then I'm still caring for my 92-year-old mother. And then I've got my kids and now I've got my grandkids.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're always going back and forth and there's so many people that are in this world.
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about death and dying and normalizing it, because we've removed it.
Yes.
We've removed it from our lives.
Because we don't want to think about it.
We don't want to think about it. And some of us grew up with, if you talked about it, it would happen, right? Well,
Yes.
that's not right. So what we've done by removing it is actually, I think, done a disservice. And I think it's extended the journey of grief for many people. So my passion in this is to have conversations. And that's why I appreciate so much that you've had me.
Of course, no.
And said, yeah, come on over.
It's so important because if people don't learn how to deal with grief, it's going to plague them for their entire lives unnecessarily. We all have to deal with it. We're all going to go through it at some point.
Absolutely.
So you might as well understand how to deal with it.
Yeah. And sometimes it just comes unexpected.
Very.
Yes. I think last year our family had like 5 unexpected deaths.
Oh my goodness.
Right? So
it's a tough year.
It's a tough year.
Yeah.
And so if we can actually prepare for it while we're healthy and have these conversations and have fun with it.
Fun with death.
Fun with death. Why not? Right? Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, honestly, when you think of a death doula, you kind of think of a Grim Reaper. At least that's what I think about. And you are the furthest thing from that. You're bubbly, you're positive, you're happy. It's, very different.
I think if we have a positive experience with it and we just have fun with it, there's going to be sad moments. There's times that I have to step back and I have to take care of myself because there are hard times with this and it's not an easy conversation to have.
Not at all.
I can remember the first time that I had a conversation with a client who was going through a cancer journey and they had asked me to come in because we were going to fill out their personal directive. And that I can remember walking up to the door and my heart was like beating, right? Because how do you talk to somebody that's on this journey and has been given this diagnosis, right? And I just put in my head when we were talking about it, I said to her, you're living with cancer. Cancer may not take you, right?
Yeah.
It could be something else. But how can we have your journey be dignified and be what you want and create a life, like an end of life story, essentially.
That's right.
Whether your cancer diagnosis takes you or it doesn't, you still have already created an end of life story that you can share with your loved ones that can help with the grief process. Like I look back on the time when I lost my dad in 2007. I wasn't doing this work then, but as my dad was dying, he was preparing us and he was saying, you know, to my brother, can you make sure that the tomato plants are planted on the north side of the fence or what have you, right? Because they were kind of south and north, the house and the garden, but he wanted the tomato plants by the fence. It was important to him. And then, can you please make sure that the winter tires are put on for your mom? And then I can remember one of the last conversations that I had with him. I'd call him every morning about 8:30 because my mom, it's the only time my dad and I could talk because my mom took off to co-op for coffee. So we had our little 8:30 chats. But I can remember saying to him, Dad, I'm so like worried about you. He says, don't worry about me. He says, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? He says, I want you to take care of like Terry and the boys. And that's your worry now. That's your focus.
Yeah.
Right? But he was preparing us. And you know what was so beautiful, Greg, is he really didn't want to serve us. He wasn't that kind. He was a very quiet man.
Yep.
And I think you see that a lot now where people don't like.
But my father didn't.
Right? No. And I was like sitting there going, well, Dad, I'm going to do something because I needed to do it for me.
The survivors, they need
it,
closure.
Right? So every Thursday he would go to the Legion at 2 p.m. and have coffee with the boys. So that's what we did. We,
That's fantastic.
we went and the ladies did a luncheon and that, but everybody just said if they wanted to have a beer, they could have a beer. If they wanted a coffee, and we just gathered and there was nothing formal, but I think that helps us in our grief. And then what was so beautiful is Bovey Lake, I don't know if you've ever been out there.
No.
But Bovey Lake is 20 minutes kind of west and south of Pincher Creek.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance to go. It's beautiful.
Right.
There's a plug for Bovey Lake.
Oh.
But that was the last spot. He actually drove out there. He died on September 15th. And the Monday before that, he drove out there. And he saw Bovey Lake for the last time. So you know what we did is that's how we embraced him. We actually went and took his ashes out there. Right. And I know many people have, and there's rules around that. But anyways, that's what we did.
Right.
I can't scoop him up now. Right.
Exactly.
So, but he went for Sunday drives. So we went out on a Sunday.
Nice.
He had a fishing little backpack, and that's what we put his ashes in. I carried him on my lap. So he had one last road trip.
Nice.
But how beautiful is that? Because now I often look and it just brings a smile to my face that we actually honored him.
Yeah. 100%.
In that way. And this is where it was like when I do this work, this is what I want people to create, right? Because it helps us as grievers, but then we go further into the conversation. What is that going to look like?
Yes.
Right? Like, where does somebody want to die? Home, hospice, hospital. If we could choose.
We want to choose.
Yeah. So how can we make that happen? So this is what the beauty of it is. So when somebody, so you asked me about like at a party, right? But this is how I engage people.
Yeah.
Because people really want to talk about it.
They do. It's scary, but they need someone to help push them over the edge a little bit.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I've found if you give them the space, like they will come. I approached the Cochrane Library. I think I'm going on my 4th year at the Cochrane Library. Wow. And I just sent them an email, kind of like how I did you, right? Contacted you, right? Hey. Yeah. So I said, hey, if you provide the space free, I would love to come and hold conversation around death and dying. And now I can get anywhere from, I think, like sometimes depending on the day, there could be 6 people and sometimes there could be 16. Oh. But the space is offered.
Interesting.
And if we can offer that space, people want to talk about it.
Good stuff. Let's talk about the business a little bit. So Transition Well, that's the name of your business.
Yes.
Okay. And when did you start this?
So Transition Well started in 2018.
Okay.
And kind of just on the side, right?
Yeah.
Because I was a nurse at the time. But knowing that and witnessing with working in a family practice, how people, when they would receive a potential life-limiting diagnosis, seeing them walk out of the clinic and seeing that deer in the headlight look
Oh,
and
God.
only imagining the emotions and knowing what they were going to have to navigate just even through emotions and into the healthcare world,
Yeah.
right? And seeing a real void and going, we can do this better. We need to do this better.
Yes.
I hadn't even heard of like an end-of-life doula or a death doula.
Right.
And then it was Global that did a piece from Saskatchewan.
Really?
And that's when it was like, that's what I need to do. Right. So I took a week-long death doula course and just to kind of see what it was all about. And then from there came Transition Well and I picked it because we all want to transition well.
It's a great name for a
Right.
business.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Yeah. So it's just been incredible. But I really, I like, a death doula can encompass so many different roles. And really, I call it like a holder of space, right? There's times, I remember over COVID, I sat with a client on the phone because we couldn't meet.
Mhm.
And it was for 3 hours on the phone. And she had lots going on. And I remember she laughed, she cried, she screamed, she yelled. There was family dynamics going on.
No doubt.
And I didn't have a lot of answers for her. But I sat with her.
And you listened.
And I listened.
Yes.
And then she phoned me up a few days later saying that everything got rectified, but she just appreciated having that space.
Yes.
And I think that's what's beautiful about the death doula work and me as Transition Well is that I can sit with people and hold that space. It's non-medical,
Right.
right? It's just helping to navigate.
Support.
Yeah. Be
Okay.
with.
All right. So what does this look like for somebody? So if somebody's going to contact you for servicing, how does that process begin? What does it look like from beginning until, I'm guessing, their end?
Yeah. So, and each journey is individual.
Probably.
Right? So some people reach out for advanced care planning. And that's doing the pre-work
Right.
and getting things in place, right? And then others reach out, like I had somebody reach out that was just going through a potential medically assisted in dying request. And when I say it's individual, each client tells me what they want. So it can work out to while I'm with somebody and vigiling right until the end and sitting that bedside and how we create that bedside and what's important at that bedside, who's around that bedside.
Right.
Right?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Who's not around that bedside. So when I do and when I work with people with personal directives, for example, I create their end-of-life story, and that's part of it. And who's in your circle? I'm big on circles.
Right.
Right? And we all have a circle of support. And sometimes that circle is not the people we think are going to be in that circle.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And that circle can look like, of course, your medical professionals. Maybe there's spiritual, maybe there's, resources. Sometimes it's neighbors, sometimes it's family members. It just all depends. Like your circle might look totally different.
No doubt. Yes.
Than my circle.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think what we found out here too, Greg, like living where we live, we create circles because when the windstorm
100%.
comes, when the flood comes, or when somebody gets sick, or
the community pulls together.
The community pulls together. And so that community can be a part of that circle.
That's right.
As well. And often living rural, especially, I find that people really live and can live isolated in a vulnerable situation at risk. So that's where these circles come into play, right? So I'm kind of answering in a roundabout way, but there's no cut and dry. Like I often say, our medical system is so black and white, and it needs to be with policies and procedures, and that in death and dying, it's gray. And when we work in the gray, we have to be flexible.
Yes.
Right.
So that's an interesting point because when you think about, I'm going to hire a death doula, it's not you telling them how to do this.
No.
You're just helping them do it their way.
Exactly. What's important to them. I recently had a client who I worked with, and it's very hard. The beauty of my role is oftentimes because death and dying, to talk to a family member, as a mother, to talk to my kids about me leaving them.
Right.
That's hard,
Yeah.
right? So you can bring in this third person who emotionally there, but not emotionally attached.
Yes. You can say the things that need to be said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can create these beautiful stories. And this one, we created what her deathbed would look like. And then it was beautiful because we shared it with her children, the
Okay.
story that we created. And after, one of them said to me, I had no idea, Julie.
Really?
But now they've got this beautiful story and they can see, whether I'm there or not, they can see and put together what their mom wanted.
Wild. So what is the reaction of the family when you come onto the scene?
You know, I mean, some think, oh, like they hear it and it's like, oh,
Do we need this?
do
Really
we
need this? Outsider?
An outsider.
Mhm.
But I've always said, once you've experienced what a death doula can do, you will go, how come I've never had this before?
Right.
Right? And families are very protective,
Yeah,
especially
of
with the
course.
seniors. I mean, we have to be
Yeah,
very careful
very
with the fraud and stuff that can
Yeah,
be
that's
subjected
right.
to them. But you know what I've found, Greg, and I have to be really honest here, is I find people do not value the worth that they are,
Well, 100%.
right?
Yes.
So
The-
they will balk. If I'm saying I'm going to bill you this much, right? They will balk at it. And I do a lot of outside work. So I kind of work on a sliding scale.
Sure.
But I think we have to value somebody who's coming in to help you create these end of life stories and put a
Exactly.
value to it. And it's
Yeah.
okay.
It is okay.
People will pay more for their pets, as we know, than they will for themselves. So not that our pets aren't worthy, but what if we put that value on us as individuals? Because like we have birth doulas, we
Yes.
value that. And so we've lived a whole life and all of a sudden we're at the end of life and life's messy. And there's going to be some relationship issues. There's going to be some lost relative that comes in. And if you can give people the tools to navigate that and help and bring in resources if needed, you know, why not?
Tremendous service. Tremendous
yeah.
service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So what is the biggest myth about end of life care that you would like to debunk?
Like, what are you thinking?
I don't know.
I think we have to look at what we believe in what comes after. So I use a tool, the death deck, when I'm doing my dying for conversation. We were talking about that, right?
Yes.
And one of the cards that often gets pulled, and it's really interesting because it can get pulled every month when I do my dying for conversation, and we can have completely different conversations about it.
Okay.
But I really think we have to look into ourselves and go, what's our belief on what happens after we die? Is it the end? Is it black?
Right.
Is there nothing? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is there a spirit world? Like I'm Métis, so I look at, we're going into the spirit world, right? I also, for my personal belief, I also think that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, right? So I think we really have to sit with it now and look at what are our beliefs. And there's no right or wrong at all. Like I had one person describe the dark eloquently. And that's like, it was just ended. And it was just beautifully explained to me. And for her, that is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because none of us know.
Totally.
But we hear things like when you get into this kind of work, you kind of hear about
different ideas,
right?
Yeah.
Near-death experiences. There's even this shared death experience. So a myth about, are we the myth?
Maybe. Yeah. I think there's people probably make up a lot of things in their own mind that don't mean anything. Like they're just their fear is creating all of these situations and
absolutely
that they could be easily dispelled if they just give themselves the freedom to make the decision. This is the way I want to go. This is the way I want to look like.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, this is what he hopes when he passes, Vince, when he passes, that, you go to heaven and it's a big theater and you get to sit in this theater and you get to watch the big screen and all your big questions in life get answered. Like, what happened here? Why did this happen? Like, so he gets all his questions answered. That's kind of neat too.
No, but because they do talk about like a move, like your like flashes before your eyes
Yes,
or whatever. But
yeah.
like, does he, hopefully he's hoping there's popcorn or maybe beer or some
Probably some
nachos,
beer, yes.
right?
Yeah.
While he's watching
Mhm.
that.
Mm.
But we can have fun with it. I can
Yeah.
remember when my sister was coming to her end of life, and she was talking about how her cancer was eating away at, and explaining things to us, right? And I looked at her and I said, just like Pac-Man, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the visual.
Why can't we have humor?
Yeah, that's right.
Because it is funny.
Totally.
There are funny
Oh, I
times.
remember when my dad he was literally on his deathbed, and so all the kids were in the room, and it was like we're talking amongst ourselves, and he's lying there, and he's just quiet, and and I remember there's probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 of us in the room, and he just shouted, "Okay, goodbye. This is it. He's going. He's on his way." We're talking, "Dad, you okay?" "No, get the hell out of here. You're too damn loud. Get out. Goodbye." "Oh, okay." Trying to get some rest.
I just want some peace and quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So when you were sitting with your dad, did you experience any interesting phenomena?
Not that I recall off the top of my head. My sister sat with him through the night that he passed. She did. Dad knew he probably wouldn't have approved, but she had crystals around, and she was trying to do her best to send him on his way in a
Yeah.
peaceful way. But that's the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some people, hey, I don't know if you've heard, like some people actually see, they'll say, oh, so and so was here, or there's a little girl over there,
Oh, yeah.
or whatever. And it's just really interesting when you get to
Totally.
that
Yeah.
bedside stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think that's what's changed a lot of my belief. And there's definitely, for me, something after. Those that are gone are
That's in its comfort in itself.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And those that are gone are still around us.
Totally.
Do you ever find dimes? Because dimes, you remember, like my
No.
nanny always used to say pennies from heaven, because at that
Right.
time it was
Yeah.
pennies, right? But dimes are crazy for me.
Is that right?
And when my brother was passing away, I was finding dimes like around the fire pit,
Really?
around like in weird places. And my husband was like, "Oh, Julie, like, yeah, just probably fell
You're
out
looking
of the
for something
jeans,
now.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But then it's got to the point in our house. He's like, "What's with all the dimes? I have a jar of dimes."
No kidding.
And there was even one time we have a little coffee area, right? And I can remember walking out of the coffee area and coming back, and there was a dime on the floor. That dime wasn't there before, So
So weird.
it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but I always think that's pennies from heaven.
Yeah. So when did MAID come into effect in Canada?
Oh,
What year would it have been?
I'm not sure.
It
It's been what?
must have been around 2018.
Yeah, something
I
like
don't know,
that. Sorry,
something
I
like that.
don't.
No, I don't know either. So how has that changed your business? Do you find there's more people reaching out because of this now? Because somebody that wants to do MAID, which stands for,
Medical assistance in dying.
obviously somebody's a planner if they're going that route to some extent, because they're
Mhm.
making the decision that they're going to do this in a structured way and they're going to plan
Mhm.
this out. But it kind of lends to somebody in your field that can help them through that whole process. Because if somebody is choosing their final day, their family's going to have something to say about it, or their partner, or whoever. So I'm sure that is a big area you can help in.
I've had a couple, right? I think what I've seen as far as the maid conversation, because it is a hot topic.
Oh, there's people that are dead set against it, and there's
Yeah.
people that are obviously
Yeah.
taking advantage of it, because there was, forget how many people last year in
Well,
Canada.
they said 100. What did they say? Was it 100,000 or
I think it was
something
pushing
like
that, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is it's another option in a toolbox.
Sure.
And whether somebody chooses to go down the maid journey or hospice journey, because hospice is a great resource for a lot of us, right? Or at home or what have you. It's our personal choice. And I really do believe, and I think what gets people and the conversation going is not knowing, like when that person can share and have those conversations with their family members or their friends, because family can be chosen as well too,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
That's where I think we need to have more conversation around it within our own circles,
Yes.
and that people can really understand this is where I'm coming from. This is, somebody has ALS. I don't want to see that journey out, but it's an option,
Right.
right? And there's absolutely, I think there's probably still a lot of work to do.
Oh, for
The
sure.
two,
Stigma is all over the place.
it is
Yeah.
absolutely. The 2 that I sat with, one being my sister, she was very much an in control person, and that allowed her to have that control.
Sure.
It probably, from what I remember the doctor saying, she may have had another couple of days, right? It was truly end of life, but the send off that she had was incredible. I think people have to also be aware, though, that in our family's case, she was what we call a forced transfer because she landed on a palliative unit in a Catholic hospital, and they do not allow that,
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
right? So I think there's just lots of conversations around it that can happen, but they have to be respectful. We can't be harsh on somebody. We're
Oh,
not in their shoes,
well, this is just it.
right?
I mean, no matter what your stance is on MAID, and what I'm about to say now is probably going to fire up the comment section, but it's their own decision.
It is.
There's people come from religious backgrounds; they're dead set against it. There's people that put their dogs down, but won't put
Mhm.
themselves down if they're in that situation. Personally, I don't want to see my family watching me waste away. If it's just going to be a painful end for no reason, I'd prefer to go
Yeah,
on my own terms and save them the grief of having to watch that.
absolutely.
That's me. That's my personal opinion. Other people might feel differently,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
it's really crazy bringing that. I can remember, and this goes back to where we need to normalize conversations around it because I come from a generation, if you will, that kids weren't allowed to go to funerals
right.
and that. But something that was very prevalent, and I still remember it to this day. So I'm proud to say I'll be 59 at the end of the month. So I was 6 years old, and my mom's brother was passing away from brain cancer. And Uncle Stan wanted to see me, right? So when you talk about wasting away, so I went up and I can remember my mom picking me up and I can still see him waving at me,
Uh,
but he was nothing. And he was like tall and like he was a big man,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And to see him, and that's 53 years later. And I still remember that.
Oh yeah.
But what was interesting is I wasn't allowed to go to his funeral.
Really?
And yeah, so it was just, I look, now that I do this work, I look back and I go, that's really bizarre,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
And I
Was
think,
this they just felt you were too young?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that feel like that, right?
Very much so. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
we have to let our kids experience
That's
death
that's
and
it.
dying.
Exactly.
We all have pets. What do? Have kids. We usually get dogs and then have kids or what
Right.
have you.
That's the transition.
That's
Yes.
usually the transition, right? But oftentimes, well, not often, they're all going to die. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
You know what's a crazy fact, Greg? And it just, somebody that
Tell me.
that I know, when you think about it, in 100 years, all of us will probably be dead. I will be.
For sure, I will be.
But when you start to think about that and put it in that context,
Mm.
we're all like, what did they say? There's two things that's guaranteed: death and taxes.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
So why can't we celebrate and say, hey, this is what I want, you
Yeah,
guys?
exactly.
Or, I don't. Like, what's dignity to me? As friends, why can't you and I sit down and say, this really is important to me? What's important to me? And I've told my niece, because she's a hairstylist
Okay.
and she does waxing and everything.
Yeah.
I said, you're responsible for my stash and my chin hairs.
There you go.
Right?
That's funny.
But
Yeah. Why? That's important to you. Do it.
that's important. So, back to that made conversation, I think what it does allow us is to have these real conversations.
Exactly.
And what's important, like,
Yeah.
how do I want to see my end days? And I forget, I should have looked it up. There's this really great video. It was actually a doctor out in, I think it was Nova Scotia, and she was one of the first made.
I seem to remember a little bit about this. Yeah.
And she had where I think her muscles were wasting. I can't remember the
Yes.
whole. It is a an amazing documentary.
Yeah.
Amazing. But she celebrated and she got to say goodbye to all her people,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Of course. Yeah. I
Like-
want anybody that I'd want to say goodbye to, I'd want to get them over here. Yeah.
Do you think they'd come? Do you have anybody that they would go, "Oh, I don't know about this."
I think everybody would come.
Yeah.
I think. If they're physically able to, I think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there, like, do you have a favorite food? Like, what would be served?
Oh. It depends on the day of the week. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, would it be like Taco Tuesday or Wing
I do like a
Wednesday?
good taco.
Right?
Yeah, I do like a taco. Yeah, Mexican might be on the menu.
You know? But this is the stuff that we have to get down to.
Right, totally.
We
Yeah.
have to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Like, when we're doing your celebration of life and all that, how nice is it to say, "You know what? Greg liked a good taco." Right?
Yeah.
Which, alongside, I don't know, maybe there's a margarita involved.
Maybe
there's, like,
something.
maybe
Probably
there's,
some
like,
bourbon. Yeah,
right?
yeah, something
You
like
know?
that.
But this is the stuff that helps us.
Totally. Talk about
And so MAID, that's one thing about MAID, is that people will go, "This is what I want to do."
And for me, I don't want a traditional funeral. I guess it'd be more like a wake style where, hey, you go down to the Horn and you have a beer on Greg and you talk about him and you have some laughs and you
Yeah.
might shed a tear, but it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Would Greg come to the Powderhorn?
I'll probably never leave. I'll haunt that place.
Have your ashes at the bar.
Right? That'd be funny.
Right?
Yeah. Here's a good question.
Okay.
So if someone's listening feels the need to start a difficult conversation with a parent or a spouse tonight about their final wishes, what is the best first sentence they can use to open that door gently?
You know what I suggest to people is they could just say to them, "You know what? I watched a really good podcast."
That's
Or-
a great one.
Or I attended, like, so I will do advanced care planning sessions,
Okay.
right? And that's what I say to people. You know what? I attended this advanced care planning session. My goodness, it made so much sense. Are you familiar with the green sleeve? Or are you familiar with, use me or use somebody like me as an outlet? But I often say, who's the easiest person to have a conversation with?
Yourself.
And that's where I'll say to people, you know what? Why not have this conversation with yourself? And because I know when my dad was trying to have conversations with me, I was like, "Oh, Dad, you're going to be here for a while. Don't worry about that."
Right.
Right?
Dismiss it.
We dismiss
Yeah.
it and all of that. And now I look at it and I go, "Man, I wish I would have grabbed onto that." Right? But if we can have those conversations with ourselves and then we get that pushback, why can't we just create our own end of life story and hand it as a gift to our loved ones and say, "You know what? I know you didn't want to talk about this,
But we're going to talk about it.
but here's what I wrote."
Yeah.
Right? But I know and that's the hardest thing because people go, "I want to talk about this." And their mom or dad are going, "No, I don't want to talk about this right now.
Yeah.
I don't."
Yeah.
And again, maybe that goes back to, as parents, we don't want to know that we're going to have to leave our children. So we just want to dismiss it.
Totally. My son's 7. We're trying to break him into this idea that everybody you know and love is probably not going to be around forever.
Right.
Grampy, the dogs, even mom and dad. One day we're going to go, he does not even want to talk about it right now.
No.
Right? And because it's going to come like a tidal wave when the first one does.
Yes.
Because he hasn't lost anybody yet.
Yes.
Anything, right?
Yeah.
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 So we're working on that with him.
It was interesting. I'm back to Uncle Stan, right? I can remember still after he had passed and my mom telling me, and she sat me on her knee and told me that Uncle Stan had passed away. And again, I was like 6 and we can learn so much from our children. And I said, "Well, will I see Uncle Stan again?" And she went, "Oh yeah, you will." I went, "Oh, okay." And I got off her lap.
And it's all better.
And sometimes kids are so simplified.
Yeah. Oh, very much
Right?
so. Yes.
And we actually work ourselves up.
Yes.
And going, our hearts pounding and that. But
The kid's fine.
the kid's fine.
Yeah.
Right? But is there something in our everyday lives, like when we see, like, say, a dead bee or something like that, is there something that we
Right.
can have a discussion about,
Yeah.
or see one of our deer, hit or dead
Sure.
at the side of the road? Like, how can we start to have those little conversations about that? I don't right?
It's a start.
It's a
It
start.
doesn't have to be a big conversation right off
No.
the bat. It can be a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really welcome those like those questions, right? When our kids ask us, I look at, and when my dad died, for example, he died in the Lethbridge Hospital. It was really unfortunate because we got a call to come right down. We'd been down and came back, and we got the phone call as we reached Nanton that my dad had passed away. So with the kids, Brandon would have been 7 at the time, Patrick like 10, and my husband Terry came in. I was with my dad and Terry came in and says, Brandon wants to see Papa. And I said, bring him in. And it was I could still remember Brandon walks in and he looks at my dad. And I don't even know what he was looking at. When he looks at my dad, he went, oh, okay, and walked out. It was a simple...
That's what a dead body looks
right?
like.
Yeah, it was as simple as that. And then my eldest son didn't want to. But years later, he said to me, he says, Mom, I wish I really would have seen Papa.
Yeah.
And it's just... And all I can say to people, and I said to Patrick at the time, I said, you know what, Patrick? You did what was right for you at that time.
Right.
We can always look back and go, I wish. Right. But... we all make decisions with the information and how we feel at the time. And I think that's where we have to be good with things, especially around death and dying.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We talked a lot.
We have.
A lot of important conversations here. Important topics. We're going to talk a little bit about Julie now. So where were you born and raised? How did you end up in Bragg Creek, of all places?
We came out for ice cream.
That's it.
And bought a house.
The crack of Bragg Creek.
Right?
Ida Mays.
Yeah. What are they? Cone lickers? Although it wasn't Ida Mays. Have you not heard that?
No.
Yeah. Now you'll never unhear it.
Yeah, that's right.
But there is a term about cone.
Okay.
We were cone lickers.
Cone lickers?
Yeah. But literally we came out on a Sunday.
Is that right?
And came for a drive. And I think, so I was born in Calgary, raised in Pincher Creek. Right. That's a whole other story that we can sometimes delve into. And we ended up, my husband's from the Maritimes.
Oh, really?
Growing up in a small community, it felt like home.
Yeah, right.
Like you just know. And it's 25 years.
25 years,
yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm local.
Yeah, you are. Of course.
That's always a hard one as a newbie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when, is it 3 years? Is it 5 years?
Exactly.
I think you're in.
Well, you get to be in. Just get involved in the community and you're in.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a nurse by trade.
Yes, I'm a retired nurse now.
Okay.
Yeah. Had several careers as over my lifespan, but deep down I was always with the senior. I always hanging out with the elders. They're
Me
fun.
Too.
You
Yeah,
learn a lot,
Yeah.
right? And so I went 2013, I was going back to school, the year of the flood.
Wow.
I was going back to school and getting my practical nurse. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's fantastic.
It was the best
you.
experience hanging out with those youngins. Expanding those brain cells once again. So I worked as a healthcare aide.
Okay.
I started that in 2007. Absolutely loved it. Worked in long-term care. It was a blessing, It really, truly was.
Nice.
And it's always been, I think, in my heart, right?
Sure.
That nursing, helping, being that person who can just assist people and just really hold space, because ageism is alive and well in the world.
100%.
And you know what? We have to really start to embrace our elders and take care of them.
Definitely.
And so then I was in school in 2013, graduated in 2015, and started here at the clinic. 2014, I would have graduated. February 2015, I started at the clinic and just retired from there. I said
fantastic.
I took a year sabbatical, I call it, to do my end of life training and work that. So I was there for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Very
so
cool.
Now this is my focus.
This is it.
This is it.
Beautiful. Well, it's definitely needed. Definitely needed. All right. Couple more personal questions for you. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I do.
Oh my. Another one.
Oh my God. I've seen one.
Get out. Come on now. When? Where? Tell us.
This will get you lots of comments.
Okay.
I'm always have been. Actually, Bigfoot growing up in Pincher Creek, because the Porcupine Hills, that's a hot spot for me.
Oh, is that right?
Absolutely.
Did not know this.
So I can't remember what year it was. I was walking home from work. It was just when, done at 5 o'clock. So just when that dusk is happening, right? And I got down by where the old steak pit was. You know how you're walking along and something just caught the corner of my eye, and I looked up Greg, it walked across White Ave over by the Bavarian.
Really?
And I was like, I said an explicit, which I
course.
won't say.
Well, we
But-
swear here, but that's okay.
Yeah. But so you can imagine, starts with F, ends with K. And it was like, did I just see what I thought I saw?
Right on. Okay, this is a first. Because I ask every guest.
Do you?
Yes, I ask every guest.
Oh, no, I think we're a little bit of a hot spot here. There's actually some
Hmm.
Bigfoot stories out by, what is that, Camp Horizon?
Is that right?
There's yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
fun.
that's my
That's fun.
experience. I don't know, like we shared that found out that we were both Métis.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's some of that Métis in us or what have you. My kids have also.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So
Very
there
cool.
you go.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. That's
Yep.
awesome. That's awesome. What was your first job?
Mowing lawns
Is that right? Okay. In Pincher.
in Pincher Creek for the neighbors. And I made good money. Like I look back now, like my one
Yeah.
neighbor paid me like $5 back in 1970,
that's fun.
1977-ish.
Good golly.
That was big money
Yeah, it
back
was.
then, right?
Yeah.
So I've been working forever, right? Like mowing lawns, babysitting, theater,
Yeah.
like you name it.
That's awesome.
You know, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
Our
for
kids have
sure.
to do that.
They do. Learn how to work hard work.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what did your parents want you to be when you grew up?
This is funny. My mom wanted me to get married and have children. And my dad said, just go and get education.
That was it. Eh?
That was it. It's like he says, don't listen to your mother.
Kids will come around on their own. Don't worry about that.
But you know, that was the age. Like my
Yeah.
mom, you became a homemaker.
Right.
Right?
And there's
No,
that's fine.
there's fine, you know?
Of course.
But they never ever said
Okay.
I should do. It was just my mom wanting me to get married
Sure.
and have children.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think she probably just wanted you out of the house.
Yeah, more than likely. We did butt heads a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
But
exactly.
who doesn't?
What was your favorite job?
My favorite job.
Maybe this is it.
Well, this is my passion, so I don't consider it a job. So I would say, yes, this is
it.
where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
But you know what? Growing up, my favorite job was actually working at the local pharmacy.
Oh, is that
And I
right?
started there at like 16 and worked with some incredible people. Learned a lot of life skills.
Yes.
Right? And
Mhm.
just really, I think, learned a lot about community and
Yeah.
how to take care of community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What was your worst job?
My worst job.
And you can name names. That's fine.
You know, my worst job. I would have to say, I don't know if the job itself was worse.
Just the people you had to work with?
Yeah.
Been
Is
there.
that fair?
Of course it is.
Right?
Some people-
They are.
Yeah.
They are. So that would have to be my answer.
Okay.
Because I think when we go through and we have every job teaches you something.
For sure.
But there have been jobs where I'm like, okay, I'm done. This is like, you're done.
Yes.
Right?
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your proudest business moment so far?
My proudest business moment. You know, I really honestly think, actually, I have one. I can't share too much about it.
Sure.
But caregivers in our world are incredible and they're taxed with a lot.
Very much so.
And one of the hardest things is empowering a caregiver to get resources to help them. And I had an experience where, and often happens, you kind of get brushed off and then you get frustrated because you know there's people that can come in to ease that stress, right?
Yeah.
And when I spoke to this person, and I actually was very frank with them, and a month later they came back and with tears they thanked me
Is that right?
because they actually listened and took my advice and they got the help that they needed.
Yeah.
And this person looked like a different person and they came
Wow.
and thanked me. And I think that has to have been one of my proudest.
Extremely validating.
Yeah.
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 No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Julie, you provide a much needed service in the community.
Thank you.
Very much. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
You know what? They can call me. They can visit transitionwell.ca, send me an email. We can definitely have a conversation to start and just see what they're looking for.
For sure.
Absolutely.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for coming on Bragg N Bout Business.
Thank you so much.
And if you are wanting to make these kinds of plans, contact Julie and just do it. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. You'd be so thankful you did in the end. And your family will be thankful because there's a lot of things that you need to get in order. before you go.
Yeah.
And Julie knows how to handle it all.
And you can live after.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks so much.